Welcome back, Savages. Tonight we are talking fate versus destiny.
This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I have stories.
Go.
Oh, we're just gonna get, okay.
I don't really have stories. I just have a lot of thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we know some of your thoughts. But we started talking about this a little bit just out of nowhere. Because, yeah, it's what we do. We talk just random crap all day. The whole fate versus destiny thing and the whole every soul is reincarnated one way or another is what, a lot of people think.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. Mm-hmm. I mean, because, we got to go somewhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't believe the whole heaven and hell thing. Mm-hmm. I believe that we go somewhere.
Right.
We don't necessarily go, heaven, hell. I mean, frankly, I'd like to spend time with demons, but
right.
That's just my choice. I think that...
Yes.
Demondate.com. We can do some more research. I think there's a whole misconception about heaven and hell because of religion, mm-hmm. and reincarnation because of religion. Mm-hmm. Now we're alive. We don't know where we're gonna go. Shut up. We're getting there.
We may not be.
Right. And exactly. So everybody has this misconception that because the religion that you're in is what determines where you go. Mm-hmm. But what was there before there was religion?
Right. And who's to say this person is right and all these people are wrong, or vice versa?
Right. It's like the whole Christian and Catholic thing. Y'all believe in the same damn person. It's the same thing.
Right.
You just go about it the wrong way. Not going to get into that.
Religious trauma aside.
Right. We, as a society, we go somewhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Most people can agree that there is something
afterwards. Right. Yes.
Exactly. There's something beyond, you can't really say Earth, but there's just something beyond.
This conscious.
Right. They have studies that show, your body dies, but it takes your brain, 7 minutes to shut down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because your brain basically is trying to restart your body. Because that's all it knows how to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For 7 minutes.
Yeah. 7 minutes of panic mode going, oh, crap.
Right.
I hope I'm drugged up when I get to that point.
Right. Hopefully they have things like what we do for animals. Mm-hmm. And that scares me.
Yeah. The other cool take on that is there are so many photographs of people as they die where you can see the
something,
the energy, the soul, whatever you want to call it, actually leaving their body.
Yeah.
Now, some of these have proven to be fake, but some of them you can't prove one way or the other, and they look pretty darn convincing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know there are a lot of religions, I think, in the Asian cultures that when somebody dies and a baby is born at the same time, mm-hmm. it's that person mm-hmm. being reincarnated. Mm-hmm. And there's always that thing of...
There's a song about that.
Yeah.
Is it that lightning crashes?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to listen to that. But there's this whole thing that the reason why you come out screaming when you're born is because your soul is remembering when it died.
Oh, I hate that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the 7 minutes of panic as you die. Now the couple minutes of panic as you are born.
It's the transition period of dying and being reborn.
Right. It's that whole thing.
It's the 7 mm-hmm. minutes in limbo waiting for a baby to be ready to...
Yes. Well, and that gets me into, and this is going to sound scary and creepy and whatnot at the same time. So I have very vivid dreams. Mm-hmm. I always have. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my dreams are deja vu. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. a lot of them. I mean, it may happen a different way, but I will remember, okay, this was different, but this is how it happened. When you have that, it's scary because I have so many like dreams and feelings of when I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I think everybody has that thought, but I actually have like the vivid mentality of it. I don't know why it's just been starting to happen, but it like freaks me the hell out.
As it should.
But I was also thinking about it. I remember the day that I was not just like born, but like when I became like
Cool.
I have the same vivid dream of when I became who I am.
Well, that's kind of
And
cool.
then I remember the day that I was born and how all I remember seeing was a really bright light. And then I remember seeing my mom. She was kind of blurry.
Well, yeah.
But I remember that. And I know a lot of people are like, no, you forget that like as you get older.
Yeah.
Because I am the way that I am and I have such vivid dreams and an imagination, I remember that.
That's kind of cool.
Everything was just dark, but I remember like seeing like the back of my eyeballs. And then I remember being born. It's a scary thought to think about because people are like, no, that didn't happen. But I remember. And I remember every day after that. I remember my mom. I remember my dad. I remember seeing them. And then as I got older, that just never changed. I just got older. And I was able to see more until we found out that I really couldn't see. But I remember.
But that could be why, though.
Like, I remember seeing all of that.
Because when you have, not that it's a disability, but when you have problems like that, other things overcompensate.
Right.
So add that into your own natural abilities, that could explain why your brain retains all that.
Yeah. Why do you think of it like that?
That's why we're here.
Why I can see dead people or sense dead people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to think about, like, what my life was like before I became who I am. But, I mean, I really do want to go, like, down that path.
I would love to do that.
But I'm scared to find out, like, what I'm going to find out. You have these people who have died. And then they come back and they're like, yeah, so I met this person and this is what we talked about. Or you have those kids who were like, oh, I remember that building. I used to work there. And you're like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest freaking thing. Scary, but cool.
Yeah.
Creepy, but
Because a lot of these people have been able to trace back what their kids have said.
Yes.
And find, like, information and research about what their kids have said.
That would be a fun topic.
I would love to do a past life
Regression. Therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy?
I mean,
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
some people
talking
call it therapy. But
Well,
you
because
have...
sometimes it helps because a lot of, again, depends on your own theory, but a lot of people suggest that your fears and phobias and everything in this lifetime is based on trauma or
From
events
what your
from your
past was.
previous life.
Yeah.
Going off of that, a lot of people say that birthmarks are how you died in a previous life.
Well, I must have got stabbed or shot because mine's in the back of my leg.
Me and my oldest, we both have this one right here. So,
see, I don't have one anymore. I used to have one somewhere on my arm here. And my only memory of that is me freaking out that my, like, grandma closed my arm in the seatbelt. And my mom's like, no, you were born with that. So, that is the only recollection that I have of that. And it's, gone now. So, I don't know. Did I outlive my previous life and now it's gone?
I say mine looks like a bruise on the back of my leg. My mom had it, and my grandma both had it. Same spot, same color, same size. And mine hasn't gone away. And I forget that I have it until I'm, like, wearing shorts or something, and my husband's like, you got a bruise on your back leg. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm supposed to have that.
I wonder if that could be, like, one of those witches' marks that are passed down through the generations.
I've heard those, too. And, I mean, it would be awesome to, like, if I could figure out whether or not we were all like what we were in our past lives, like witches and whatnot. Because if I could trace my lineage back to Salem, then I know that I'm in the right freaking place.
Right?
See, going off of that again, I've heard that depending on your relation with like fire, like if you're scared of fire, as you were saying, maybe you died in like a house fire.
Yes.
But,
I'm afraid of heights.
well,
I'm afraid of a lot of things, but heights is my like no.
yeah. But
Roller
I've
coasters.
heard in relation with like the being scared of fire, if you're like obsessed in a healthy way with fire, then maybe you were like burned at the stake like a witch.
Oh. Yeah, and I just kind of sit and stare at it and like watch it dance.
Oh, I
And
play with it.
I don't go that far. Listen, I almost set myself on fire. I don't play with fire like that anymore. But like watching fire is very,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
very hypnotizing.
It is. You just kind of stare and
So I think we all just confirmed that we were burned at the stake at one point.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with a lot of the crap that I
Right.
say and the stuff that I believe.
I used to have a whole lot of the deja vu stuff. Like, there would be almost every day something would happen and I would have that deja vu feeling. I haven't had that in many years. So again, is it that I outlived my previous life?
Or did you just forget those
Right,
memories?
right. Or have I, like, gotten to a point now in this life that I just haven't gotten to before for whatever reason? Not that I didn't survive this long, but I changed paths along the way.
That's the feeling that I get, is that I've always died at a young age, and now I'm 32, and it's like, okay, what happens now? The feeling. Because, like, I've always had this feeling that I've had a bunch of kids. I mean, we all know my motherly instincts kick in, but I've always had this feeling that I've had a bunch of kids, that I've been married, that I had a different life than what I have now. And here I am now, 32, still no kids, but I have a good life.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was always a writer.
I would say probably in one way or another.
Yeah, because writing just comes naturally to me. And reading.
And my thought process on the whole fate, destiny, I kind of think that we don't have a predetermined amount of times that we come back. I feel that our soul just keeps coming back until we complete all of our missions, so to speak. We are predestined to go through all of these things that we set out for our soul journey. You're given the first round, okay? You've checked maybe 3 things off of the bucket list. So you come back again to fix anything that you messed up and proceed on your journey.
I want to redo.
Right? Okay, so then we go here and, well, we fixed this, but we chose the wrong path and didn't get these off of our list. So
Right.
we come back again and we keep going until we complete our whole purpose.
You're
That's
doing a
kind of
choose
what-
your own adventure video game. and
Yeah.
You're trying to do a completionist run.
Listen, designing one of those is a pain in the ass.
Oh, I wrote a choose your own adventure book twice.
I had
It sucked.
I had to design
Both times.
I had to actually design one for class. It sucked.
Ugh. 'Cause we are all given free will. Okay,
Yeah.
so we come to a crossroads. We know which way we should go.
But you have the
Maybe
full
on a deeper
opportunity.
level, we know which way we should go. But our free will takes charge, and we may not go the road we're supposed to go. We end up going this way. So guess what?
You
Next
have to come back
we
around.
got to go back and go down that road.
I mean, but that just goes to like, we're gonna go back to the serial killers. It's my favorite topic apparently. But you have
For a second. Go ahead, keep talking.
you have these men and women have all like their families have always said, okay, they're good kids. They always got good grades in school, that they always had a lot of friends. Sometimes they didn't have any, but that they were good people. And then all of a sudden it was, well, they started hanging out with these people, and then this is how they changed.
Or they hit their head.
Or, yeah, or
Head traumas
like head
9
trauma,
times out of
or
10.
they got into some kind of accident, and then it was like, okay, now going this way with their lives. And that's when the violence started and everything else. Well, you get all that research by scientists and whatnot who are like, no, people are born this way. That they are now taking like photographs of people's brains as they grow up to see, okay, was your kid born to be crazy, like to be a psychopath?
Yeah. You know, there's something to be said for the ones that are, you know, born nice and then become not so nice. There's the grow up, nothing actually trauma happened, but then, you know, the scientifical, hey, you've messed up your frontal lobe, that's always gonna do it.
Right.
And then, but then you also have the kids that were born hurting animals, hurting everyone else.
I mean, because that starts, it starts at a young age.
Yeah.
They've determined that it starts at a young age. They've determined that it starts as early as like the age of 3. Because that's when
your personality starts kicking in.
Right, your personality starts kicking in, and like whether or not you were loved enough or you were coddled enough or something like that. That's when all of that stuff sets in.
Yeah, and I think that goes to the nurture versus nature argument. Were you born like this, or did your environment suck and now you're lashing out?
And a lot of the times you see kids who are born into crappy environments and then they become crappy people, and then they're like,
And then the cycle just continues.
Yeah, because then if they somehow procreate,
right,
and then they're like, well, this is how I grew up, this is how you're going to grow up too, and it just keeps going. But when does it actually stop?
Right.
Like, when does somebody in their family decide, nope, this is wrong, we're not going to do this anymore? Now, does that change how your life is going to go?
No.
Does that change your destiny? Are you meant to be a good person from here on out with a crappy family? Or is something in your world down the line going to trigger you and now this is going to start back over again? That's a whole big part of how I feel about things. Your parents may suck, but that does not mean you have to be a crappy human being. Because a lot of these people, they talk about, I mean, even if you go to therapy, the one question is always, well, how was your childhood?
Yeah. And then you're like, what? Like, I know, my therapist asked me that. I'm like, well, nothing like big happened. And she's like, okay, well, this, and this. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah, that you don't realize that it was actually some kind of like
and it's just
trauma.
a bunch of small things that people make you to believe that are normal. And then people point out, hey, maybe not. You're like,
right.
Oh.
It's like when you're growing up and you're like, your mom tells you, you know, hey, don't eat all that or you're going to get fat. But you only ever see your mom eat like half a stick of celery and some lemon water. And you're like, oh, okay, that's just normal. And then you realize, no, that's trauma.
Eating disorders start.
Right. And then you get into high school and whatnot and people are like, oh, where's your lunch? And you're like, no, I'm not hungry. And then it just snowballs from there. And then you get better, but all you see is something different than from what everybody else sees. And it always goes back to, well, how was your childhood?
Right.
Because parents, or the adults, I shouldn't say parents, the adults in people's lives are what kind of transform them into how they're going to be. So does that mean you're always going to be a crappy person? Is that just what you're destined to be?
See, I like to believe that you can change as, I don't know, that destiny plays a role, but not the role.
Yeah.
Because I feel that if you rely too much on, you know, I have this predetermined path, that's what it's going to be, then you just fall into this hole of, well, then what's the point of, you know, going to work versus not? What's the point of, if I'm supposed to end here, what's the point of going anywhere else than there? And you just fall into this hole of sadness.
We go back to, like, whether or not fate and destiny are going back to, like, square one. Because you don't know what your life is going to be like when you're born.
Right.
And you don't know what your life is going to be like until after you're an adult. Because we all know that as a kid and as a teenager, your life becomes school, home, friends, social lives, if that's what you get. What happens when you become an adult? you have two different paths you can take. You can either be that adult who goes to college, which not everybody goes to college and they turn out fine. But you're always told, okay, you have to go to college, get a career, get married, have a family,
And then everything will be fine.
and then everything will be fine. But then you have this new outlook on life where you don't need to get married and have a family to have a life. A lot of people are choosing not to have children right away. Either it's either right away or not at all because they want to travel. They want to put all of that time and money that they have saved towards themselves and travel, see the world, do things that do things that make them happy. And we're seeing that a lot of people that don't have kids now are 10 times happier than people who have kids. Because now everything that's with, childcare and whatnot is on the rise.
Right. And also, it's and I saw this like in my own mom, the constant, am I doing this right? Am I making the best life for my kids? That weighs down on people a lot, which is the main reason why I don't want kids, because I don't think that I'd be able to raise good people, because I don't think that I have it in me to be patient enough to raise children, because they take a lot of patience and I just don't have that.
I don't have patience. I just like kids, which, I guess it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, but I just don't want to raise more crappy people with a bunch of trauma if I could just not have children and it'd be fine.
Right. And the whole having kids thing and whatnot, again, is it part of the plan that you're not, our world is just going to start depleting because we're not having kids? And it's been proven that the world is changing and people having kids, the population is dwindling. Is that good or is that bad? Are we destined to be the planet that finally just has no people on it? Or is it going to be you have certain types of people because these are the people that have chosen to have kids?
Right, because then you go back to the nature part.
Yeah.
If the crappy people keep having crappy children,
You're just
the world's going to be overrun by crappy people.
Right. And you can't just expect people to change. When we decide what we're going to do with our lives,
I haven't gotten that far yet.
and that's the thing too, though, is they expect people to know what they want to do with their lives by the time they turn 18. 18 is you either go into the military or you go to college and you start your career or whatever.
You're supposed to, at age of 18, not like just barely a legal adult, not even 20 years into your 50 plus year existence, you're supposed to know what you're going to do with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Guess what? We don't.
No. The fact that, 18-year-olds are shoved out into the world, they don't know anything. I know when I was 18, all I wanted to do was hang out with my friends. I wanted to party. And I wasn't going to college. I did want to go to college at one point.
Yeah.
And then I toured a campus college and I cried and I was like, nope, this is too big. There are too many people. I don't like people. I've changed my mind. And since then, I bounced around. I did retail for almost 10 years and I realized this is not what I wanted to do. I went to cosmetology school, had a year left, had a mental breakdown because it was too much, and left. And then I started vet tech school. I got bit and was like, okay, I know that I still want to be in the veterinary field, but maybe being like a registered technician is not something that I want to do. And now I am 5 or 6 months away from having my bachelor's degree in publishing and editing because I have decided that my entire life I've always wanted to be a writer, and this is what I'm going to do now. And this is where I'm happy.
Yeah. I haven't gotten that far. I moved out at 17 to go to college. Did college for 18 months because that's how long my program was. Graduated, came back, and immediately went into my full-time career, and I'm coming up on a year on that in October. And I can tell you this is not where I'm going to be for the next couple of years. I cannot keep going with this job. But then it's, okay, well, at 18, well, 17, this is what I chose to do. Now what do I do?
Yeah, and then you get those families who are like, okay, you turn 18, you get a share of this company, you have to go to college, and then you're going to take over. And then you, at 18, you're going to take over for this person, and then this person's going to move up. And then eventually you would just have, like, the family businesses where children are just taking over. But they don't know what they're doing half the time, A, and B, who says that that's what they want to do?
There's that expectation because my adult did this and my older sibling did this and my older sibling did that. I have to do that.
It's
and
like
a lot of families are like, yes, you do, and they don't give them that option.
No, it's like when you have a family full of doctors or a family full of lawyers, and then all of a sudden this one kid's like, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to be a naked artist, and I'm going to make a lot of money. that's
I don't know what
just
into, but
that's just how it's going to be. I don't know what person in their right mind just walks out into the world and goes, I'm going to be a naked artist. I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to sit on the corner. Yeah, I'm going to sit on the corner, and this is what I'm going to do. And the funny thing is a lot of these people end up making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Especially now with social media.
yeah,
I walked into being a naked artist. Okay.
it's a great time.
It is a great time. We're talking about how people can come from like one section of their life and just go on a whole other path.
Yeah.
Naked artists in New York could be from a family full of doctors and lawyers.
They
Yeah.
were pressured to also be a doctor or a lawyer, and they said, screw this, I'm out.
Yeah, and they went as far
Left as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people probably no contact with their families because their families suck.
Right.
Oh, no contact with families is like a whole new thing now. Everybody's like losing contact with like, they're just cutting people off left and right.
Oh, yeah.
I
As
think
someone who cut off 2 people, it's great.
Yeah.
Highly recommend if they're not being nice to you.
Yes. Yes. I think a lot of that is the whole self-entitlement thing that the millennials, no offense, are going
I'm younger
through.
than a millennial.
Yeah.
Oh, Kai, yes you are.
You are, wait, what are you called?
A Gen Z. I'm not even a zillennial.
Oh, yeah, you're a Gen
Oh,
Z.
God.
I'm a, like, couple years into Gen Z, so I'm like an older Gen Z.
I'm an Xer.
So you're not one of those stupid
God,
people.
no.
I'm an Xer. I am the true FAFO.
It totally took me a minute to realize what I was trying to say. You don't count.
You are in a class of your own.
As a society, should
You
not...
took my armrest.
Oh, wait, sorry. Here you go.
We, as a
I
society...
got this. You can have that.
should not base our lives...
On the decision we made at 18.
Yes! Well, not only that, but we also should not base our lives on being millennials and Gen Zs. Like, if you're gonna go around and be like, this is how I'm gonna do things, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But that's what a lot of them need.
That, yeah. Well, and
But then again, that brings that a lot of Gen Z are still children. They are still trying to figure out.
That
There's
is
a
where you
reason.
are supposed to be.
yeah.
You just don't know why yet.
Yeah. And it's like, you know that you wake up every day and you're going to drive to work and you're going to get to work. And then one day you just decide, well, I don't want to go to work. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was already going to happen.
Yeah.
You just made it happen.
Yes.
I think that goes back to just being the whole, I just quit my job. Like, straight up, I was like, no, I had every intention of, like, trying to stay at this place and, like, work stuff out and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I quit my job. You don't know what your life is going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
You just know that you're here. You're alive.
Yeah.
What's your plan from here?
Right. And then, again, that's where you get to the crossroads and you choose this way or that way. And if you chose this way, but you were supposed to go that way, that's where you're going to come back for a redo.
Yeah.
So that you choose this way. But you're going to be in a whole nother circumstance at that time. So it
When
won't
we're
be
going this way will make more sense.
It won't be like the same you as right now
Yeah.
with those two choices. It'll be who knows when and what choice it will be, but it will be the same basic this way or that way.
Yeah. You can't just, well, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Well, and then all of a sudden, like, there's those people who are like, oh, well, we've done this until we were like 50, and then we decided to do something different, and this is our life now. Well, what got you to that point?
Right.
You didn't just suddenly think that that's what you were going to do. Like,
Right.
something pushed you that direction.
Yes.
Why?
It was either a goal or some sort of life plan that pushed you that way.
Right. You didn't just decide, I'm going to go to Arkansas today,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you become a millionaire.
Right.
What took you from A to B to get you to C?
Yes. Like, we can even look at me, for example. I have always been in healthcare in one way, shape, or form, except for one little deviation I took into the car world. I worked at a biotech lab in California. We moved to Texas, found out about Tegan, decided to be a stay-at-home mom, okay? I was stay-at-home until 4 years ago, 4.5, roughly. Worked at the school part-time, was looking for another part-time job. My neighbor says, hey, my daughter-in-law works at a vet clinic. You want to go there? Okay. They needed a kennel assistant. Okay. I like animals. I've always been drawn to dogs. I've never met a dog that doesn't like me. Okay. I go, I apply, get the job on the spot, start going over helping out on the other side. I'm like, oh, I really like this. And the animals really seem to respond well to me. This is... So here I am 4 years later, and this is what I was supposed to be doing all along.
Yeah.
I just didn't know it. But there's definitely some sort of spiritual connection between me and the animals that this is where I need to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like cosmetology school. I had always enjoyed doing hair and doing makeup and whatnot. And it was something that my mom always, like, wanted to do together. So I went. And then when she died, I had a mental breakdown and was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I never wanted to do it. I did it for her. And it was just never something that I really wanted to do. Yeah, it was fun learning and it was, you know, meeting all the people that I did. But it was never something I wanted to do. Like, I always knew that writing and reading somehow was going to be a part of my life.
If I could make money to just sit and read.
Like, my mom said that, you know, I had been reading since I was 2. Well, most kids don't comprehend reading, which I'm pretty sure just looking at picture books. But
Whatever.
I always knew that reading and writing, didn't matter what I did, was always my fallback. I always had a book in my hand. And now, I'm almost done with my bachelor's degree, and I've met all of these cool people who are self-published authors and whatnot. And it makes me think that my whole life, this is what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And this is what has gotten me here now, because as much as I love being in the veterinary field, it takes a toll.
Oh, yeah, it does.
And I want to do something different.
Yeah.
Even though I love animals, this is what I was meant to do.
But you had to go through all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
You were at the vet hospital. Tabby was at the vet hospital. And then Kai came along.
Yep.
And it's like you are going to be drawn to your soul family no matter where you go.
Yep.
They're
One way or
going to
another.
come into your life
Well,
at
it's like,
some point
yeah.
because you're supposed to be there.
That's like all the friends and stuff you make. Like, you knew them at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you meet them and you feel instantly like
Yeah,
you've known them
especially those
forever.
ones that are like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And now look what we do.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Look what I can do.
I think we're...
I think that's about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could go on a whole ramble
Yeah.
for a lot longer. But our
We already killed one camera.
Yeah, our
so.
cameras are killing themselves because we're just going on and on and on. So I think we're good. We're going to wrap
Okay.
it up. Till next time.
Okay.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.